Hi, it's Teresa with Crafty with Theresa. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to go ahead and take a look at the paper pumpkin kit that was sent out in September. So what we'll do today, I had one original plan and then I changed my mind. I do that quite often if you've been following me. And so my first plan was to kind of show you how fast they are, because really in reality there's not that much that you have to do to these cards, but of course we'll do that and even a little bit more. First, I probably also need to apologize. I'm fighting a allergy problem, I hope. So, sorry for the roughness in my voice. But what you'll see here is I'm actually going to pull out this paper pumpkin kit and show you. The name is Autumn Abundance, and I'm going to kind of show you a little bit about what came with this kit. Obviously, there's the cards. There's this stamp set that's wonderful. It can be used over and over and over again. I love the fact that they have these die cuts, and I'm kind of just scanning through them. I haven't really put these together. I've just opened the kit and just kind of torn out the die cuts, or I think that's what they're called, is die cuts. Oh, and I'm going to welcome some new subscribers. I recently picked up a few more friends here on my YouTube channel, and I want to say welcome to you. And for those that have been with me for a while, welcome back, and thank you so much for sticking with me. So on card number 1, what you're going to see is it's a cute little note card. I believe it's 3x3, and the directions tell you to take the Cajun Craze Stampin' Spot, and I am not even sure what that's called, some type of leafy design there, and you're going to take that design, ink it up with your Cajun Craze Stampin' Spot, and you're going to put it on that beautiful square piece that's actually going to look like it's inside the opening there. But it tells you to just kind of stamp it there. And that's what we're going to do on this card. We're going to do this one pretty close to the design. Cards 1 and 2 actually will be really close to the design. So we're just going to stamp it a few times, see what it looks like. Oh, I'm sorry, in this case I do only stamp it one time, I believe. And we'll take a look at that, and it worked out perfectly. And now we'll start putting it all together. We'll grab these die cuts. And I love this design because, first of all, I love the cute little snail. Oh, here's the sentiment. And that sentiment is sending autumn wishes your way, which I actually like that saying. I think that's so generic, and I think it works really well for any cards that you need to send in autumn, which is right now. We're starting to finally experience a little bit of autumn weather, which thank you. It's been 100 degrees here forever. We finally got into the 90s, and by next week I believe we're going to actually have some 50s and 60s in the morning. So pretty excited to get some autumn weather here. So I'm going to do this a little bit differently than what it looks like is supposed to be done. I'm actually going to glue down that half wreath, we'll call it, that little half of a ring that's full of leaves. I'm going to glue that down. I also glued down the insert, which is that piece inside the note card. So I think you could pop it up. In my case, I glued it in because I plan to pop up all of the cute little focal points. And then what I'll do is I'll take my sentiment, kind of line it up so that I can kind of see where I want to put that round wood disc and where I might want to put that cute little snail and the little mushroom. And we'll just take some dimensionals. These are the mini dimensionals. I'll just put those dimensionals around the larger areas of the focal points, and then we'll add them to the front of the card. I fidget a little bit with this, and then any pieces that are not necessarily connected, I go ahead and just put a little dollop on there so I won't have to worry about that. When you're dealing with different sizes, sometimes you have to make sure that those are connected in some way. And I did put a few little dollops of glue in there to connect them. And there you have it. So for card number 2, I really wanted to focus on the fact that this is a very, very cute design, and it works really well when you need to make quick and easy cards. So you'll see here that I did start the timer on my phone, and unfortunately my phone doesn't always show the light screen. I must have an automatic shut off there. And so you'll see in the very end that I did go ahead and time this. And I will say that going forward, the card started at one number, and then as I made more, that number went down. I'll explain that to you in just a minute. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab my Cajun Craze Stampin' Spot again and my dimensionals. And this time we're going to start with putting the dimensionals and having them ready to go in the very beginning. We're just going to put those on the larger leaves. Even though these are mini dimensionals, we're still going to just put them on the larger leaves and have that ready to go. So that once we do our stamping, we put it all together and we're completely finished with this card. So after I have put the dimensionals on, I'm going to grab that leafy thing. I still don't know what to call it. That leafy thing, and I'm going to do some stamping directly on the card. Now I will tell you, I do have an alternate card that I'm making that is actually, I believe they call it a telescope or kaleidoscope card. I really can't remember, but I'll show that in one of my upcoming posts. I won't have it finished here today. So I'll stamp that leafy piece right directly on the card. I'm not making any kind of crazy design here. I'm just trying to find openings for it. Then we'll take our sentiment. In this case, I do believe that thinking of you is a great sentiment here because of the fact that, you know, in fall, you do have to send these cards out also. So I'm going to go ahead and use the sentiment thinking of you. I'm going to stamp it on that circular die cut that has gold framing around it. Basically, it looks like a doodle. We'll add the dimensionals to the back of that circle, thinking of you sentiment circle. And then what we'll do is we'll fidget and fidget a little bit, and we'll figure out how we want to put those other beautiful leaves underneath the circle where it looks like it's just peeking out. And that card is finished. You'll see here that I did get this card done in around 6 minutes, but I will tell you that the more cards you make, the faster it is because it really took no time at all. The 6 minutes was me trying to get my stamps ready to go and understand how to make that card. So on card number 3, we're changing this one up just a bit. I've gone ahead and I've torn the bottom of this card base. And really what I'm going for here, the look I'm going for, is that floating card look. There's just going to be some separation between the two. I've torn the card, and then I added some of the Cajun Craze around the edges of this. I've done this in videos in the past, but I really like all of these cool leaves and fall colors. And I really thought it would look good to kind of create that little border, but then add that little opening to look like you're kind of sneak peeking into the inside of the card. So I'll tear a little bit of that until I get the look I'm looking for. I'll add that Cajun craze to it, and then I'll grab my dies and I'll basically create that design. Or I will show you a few different ways that you could change this card up, leave it as is, or change it up. And if you do decide to change it, you could do things just simply. Now, my dog decided he was going to bark at the person at the door, so I stopped taping, and I want to apologize because I stopped taping, and then when I started retaping, I did not have the card in focus very well. I apologize. I did not recognize it, so I caught it, but there is a little bit here that's out of focus, and I apologize for that. You can blame it on the dog. His name is Max, by the way. Anyway, so now I'm just going to glue the edges down for the front and the bottom. I am going to go ahead and get my trimmer out and trim it up just a little bit, because I shortened that up a little bit because I want that opening on the bottom, so I did go ahead and trim that. Now I'll just attach it to the bottom of that card base. Now I've put all of my little cute little leaves on the very top. And here's where I came up with some different ideas and thoughts here. First, you could put the sentiment on the top of that design, but I didn't want to do that for a couple reasons, but mostly because I covered up so much of those designs, those pretty leaves. You could put it on the inside of the card. I grabbed my Unbounded Love stamp set, and I decided to basically piece my sentiment together myself. So let's take a look at this technique. I think you'll like it. It's super easy. It does take a little bit of time to kind of figure it out, but we'll do it here together. I want to use the words, "We celebrate you." It's a card from me and my husband to this couple that has their anniversary coming up in November. And so I'm going to take from the Unbounded Love, I'm going to take a piece of the word "we" from the words "is being sure of what we cannot see." I'm just going to take the "we." So what I did is I stamped it on a yellow Post-it note and I cut out the word "we." I wanted that cute little "we" to be in the front of my sentiment. So I'm going to put that down on the banner where I want it to go. And now I'll stamp it 100% just as is, and it will only give me the word "we." Take a look. Now, just to be sure, I did go ahead and stamp the word "celebrate" right beside that. Now, I practiced this a couple times, I will tell you. The other word that I'm going to use is inside that stamp set. There's the word "celebrate," and there's also the words "just for you." So I only want the "you," so I'm piecing together this sentiment from 3 different stamps. And instead of cutting them up, this is what I'm going to do. Now, the easy part would be, let's just cut them up, but I decided I did not want to do that here. I'll ink up the word "you," and I'll take off any ink that maybe got around the other edges. And I'll stamp the word "celebrate" right smack dab in the middle there. And then I will stamp the word "you," and then I'll go back to "we." Don't Ask me why. I have no idea why I did this backwards. I think I was worried about centering it. So that's how I did it. Now, I'll stamp the word we, and we will have the words "We celebrate you" in different fonts. Just something a little different, but I really like how this turned out. And you'll see in my final card what it ended up looking like. I really enjoyed changing up card number 3. And I'm so glad I got to do that here today. Here's a look at some of the other options that I mentioned. You could put the sentiment on the outside of the card up at the very top left. You could add banners on the inside and stamp it on the inside instead of on the outside. You could stamp directly onto the wood itself. There are just so many options. Do the one that works best for you. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I really enjoyed working with these cards, and now I have plenty to send out this autumn. Any additional cards I make, I mentioned earlier that I do have some additional alternatives that I'm working on. I'll put those out in a post for you. And stay tuned. I have some more cards coming out soon. I will also hopefully get a chance to show you those layouts that I've been working on. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, have a great day.